Maybe he has not yet joined us. Honorable Yemi, Vice Chair NIDOE Bellots, are you there? All right, we have Honorable Abe Ogundakane, who is the CEC GenSec NIDOE Europe. Honorable Abe, please, can you say hello to our viewers?
Hello, viewers. Good day to everyone. God bless you. For the record, my name is Engineer Abiodun Ogunshakin. Thank you.
Our Honorable GenSec. Welcome to Majesty TV. And then we have Honorable Kenneth Bandi, who is Continental Chairman, NIDOE Europe. Honorable Bandi, please, can you say hello to our viewers?
Hello, viewers. Good evening, and it's been a pleasure being on the broadcast. Looking forward for a very nice debate today.
All right. And my honorable self, Apostle Helen Dokeno, who is your hostess tonight, and also the PRO stroke Assistant General Secretary, NIDOE Europe. Now, our topic tonight is on irregular migration, trafficking, and Libyan slavery. So we would encourage viewers to give us a call on the studio line, which is 031203374 should you want to interact with us. Now, as an introduction, Libya is the main transit point for refugees and migrants trying to reach Europe by sea. So for the past 3 years, about 150,000 people have made the dangerous crossing across the Mediterranean Sea from Libya. About 3,000 refugees have died on a row since 2 years. According to figures from the International Organization for Migration, IOM, which is the UN Migration Agency. So about 400,000 to 1 million migrants to Europe are now bottled up in Libya detention. Some of them are in a horrible situation and they are facing rape, robbery, murder, and all manner of atrocities. Especially since Italy have cracked down on boat smuggling. These refugees from Africa to Europe. So their conditions in those detention centers are described as being very, very horrific. So many pictures have been going through the net, and some of them are so horrible and heartbreaking that you wonder what must be going on in Libya. So for this purpose, NIDOE Europe executives have decided to at least air their view regarding to these horrible dealings. So, gentlemen, the floor is open. I will want us to really know what could be the genesis of these migrations and human trafficking. I start with our chair.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, migration, like we all know, is as old as human history. And there are so many reasons why people want to or wish to leave their areas of residence to go to a different area to seek a better life. I mean, like we said, biblically and in recent history, the movement of people from one continent to the other, from one country to the other, is a well-known fact. Putting them in perspective, probably lack of bad government, war, search for greener pastures, and search for better life are all the reasons why people would decide to leave their country to other country.
All right, so that is on a nutshell from your own perspective.
Yes, in a nutshell, exactly.
All right. Can somebody add to what Chiabandi have just said? Gentlemen, please, when you are speaking, raise your voice so that we can hear you clearly too.
Okay. Honorable Abi here.
Yes.
Abi here. Abiodun. Okay. Actually, I think my honorable chair there was quite spot on, and I've actually, reference it to something that actually have been in existence the world go. And in terms of the reasons, what I could actually add, it's economic situation also uh, motivates people, you know, for this kind of to embark on this kind of journey, and also deception as well. The Bible says, "My people perish for lack
Knowledge.
of knowledge." So many of them embark on this kind of dangerous journey just because they were not well informed. They only got, told or informed or made aware of one side of the story, which is the good side. Nobody actually, informed them about the bad side of it. So external influence is also a factor, which is more of wrongly advising people, and also I believe general orientation in lack of the dishonest spirit and understanding that you have to start from somewhere. You might aim to want to have a very good living standard of living. You might aspire to want to have be wealthy for all those reasons. Those are not really the problem, but how you go about it is the problem. People should be oriented in such a way that they know that they can always start, from somewhere. Because these people, many of them, committed a lot of money, up to hundreds of thousands of, if we
Exactly.
talk in naira for Nigeria, even
Yeah.
to millions to embark on kind of dangerous journey. So those money can be put into some small scale businesses that can actually improve, their life, and also get them the result they are looking to go for. So that's the contribution I have.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much. Yes, Dr. Ibekwe, please.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Ibekwe. Yeah, Italy. I will first start my word by the First World Slave War. I call it World Slave War. Was the scramble for Africa, where our forefathers went away, sent away their children only for a token, only for one piece of singlet. They sent able-bodied men to America to go and slave. And on that very journey, we saw most of them died in the sea and the ocean. And those who arrived there were enslaved, they were all enslaved. The only survivors there are now called the Black Americans, and which is Black Americans. They are all Africans. Now, the session I now call it the Second World Slave War is this thing that is happening now, and I call it the scramble for Europe. And this time, our men and women had chosen to come and perish in the desert or in the sea, that is from Nigeria to Libya, Libya to Italy, and to other parts of Europe, just for a token, just for to find their daily bread. And because of bad government, as the chair have said, if the government has been providing, even this Libya now, where I can remember, those of all that schooled here in Italy, when Libyans were coming here during the time of Gaddafi, they were not suffering, they were paid. Their school fees were paid. There was nothing like that. And remember, we should remember also that during the time of Gaddafi, this slavery started because he used Nigerians who are coming into Libya as soldiers, black soldiers, to fight Americans, to fight Bush and his men. So we should know that these things are where any set of people who have their profit, especially the white, the Europeans, and the Americans. So, and the set of our country. So I should say that, as we are saying it, our people bear the consequence. They bear the sufferings. You see, we announce of the dead people, how they died and how they are perishing. It doesn't even touch those They are, even as they come in here, they use them rough. They use them. If the money that was scared for them are not given to them, they are paid. They are given very small money and leave them. If you get into some rooms here in Italy or apartments, you can see about 5 or 6 men in one bed, lying on the floor at this cold weather. So that is exactly where it is very good for NIDOE to walk into this very case and see the best way we can do it. Thank you.
So my next question is it that awareness is not being created, or is it just that these people are so hardened that they are so desperate to come to Europe for a greener pasture? What do you think could be the main reason why, despite what the pictures people are seeing on the net, on televisions, yet people are bent on just taking such a risk with their families? Is it that we are not creating enough awareness, or that people are not portraying the right stories, or that these people are just hardened?
Yes, one is that we are not creating the proper awareness. Secondly is that, it's money making. We know that even in our country, this trafficking on human trafficking did not start from this slavery that we have seen now. It started from some people who were looking for money. They kill people, take their spare parts, go and sell in Europe. They are called to bring their spare parts so that the whites may live, the Europeans may live alive, and the blacks may die. I'm sorry to say this. But it's just because we are money-mongering people. We take every risk, and then you don't even care of your brother. You are not your brother's keeper.
This has to do with poverty. Yeah, Chair, please, what do you have to say regarding to this other question?
Well, one of the reasons why we started our enlightenment program is partly what Dr. Ibekwe have actually answered, that there should be a lot of enlightenment on one side. The fact is that people have a misconception that where they are not is better than where they are. Taking Europe as an example, people believe that European streets are pested with gold, and people can pick up cars and things like that on the street. That might propel, or that has helped to propel a lot of people taking some unserious, unreasonable risk to get to Europe. So I think enlightenment is definitely has a crucial role to play. On the other side, like the doctor also mentioned, the greediness of our people is also another perspective to that. As we are talking, in spite of all the things happening in Libya today, as we are talking, you can be dead sure that we have people who are also preparing to embark on that journey. And so you ask yourself, how can somebody on earth be trying to come over to Europe using Libya as a route? I mean, that is totally madness, honestly speaking. So I think that anybody who, in the first place, irrespective of what the costs are to push people out of their residence, we owe ourselves the responsibility. We are responsible for ourselves, for our decision in the first place. And we should not also forget that fact, that whatever anything we've decided to take to do is our own responsibility. Of course, the government will have to play their part. Now, Libya is a failed state, so to say. We have 3 governments in Libya, 1 recognized by the international community and 2 not recognized, and a lot of militia controlling pockets of a zone. For even the Libyans themselves, they are not safe enough with this kind of arrangement. And now you're talking about somebody who is a non-Libyan trying to pass through that route. Like I said, that is madness. So information is one. Our greed for money is second. These are the major factors that people are still putting their head in this dangerous journey. That's why there's a need for people to know the facts. There's a need to have an enlightenment campaign. from different organizations, from Nigeria themselves, from Nigerian media, and of course from the government on the other side. And there's also a need to crack down on individuals, organizations, call them organized criminals, that partakes in this human trade. And when these combinations are put in place, I'm sure that people will begin to get more aware of the situation on
Like
the
the
ground.
issue of human trafficking. You know, the issue of human trafficking have been a very long business that many people have benefited from. So, and the fact is that the more you try to tell some of these girls, because me, being a reverend minister, I've seen some of these girls even coming to our ministry as far back as 15 years ago, 17 years ago. They will come, they can't sit because now their bladder have become so weak that every second they are just rushing out to go and use the restroom. So you see that some of them don't even have a way of going to hospital. So I do remember about 15 to 16 years ago, me and my husband would just go to some of those centers to go and pick them just to bring them to church. And they will come with their madams and they will come with their orgas who will never even want them to exchange any communication with anybody. Do you understand? So these people see that their conditions are very deplorable, and yet they are calling their homes and they are telling people, telling their younger sisters and telling their younger ones to stay calm, embark on this sort of journey. So how do you think that that the government or the Nigerian government would help to combat this sort of business? Engineer Bay.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, two questions on the floor now. I would like to make just a brief comment to the first one before I move to the second one. For the first one, really, I believe strongly that the issue of lack of information is very key, because if I know something, you can't. It will be more difficult for you to convince me to think otherwise, basically. But if I don't have a clue, I'm more susceptible to take whatever you throw at me. So I think the Nigerian government needs to encourage or energize all relevant agencies that has to do with this current menace to step up their actions on the part of educating people and information. They could have an executive order for a free advert against irregular immigration on every newspaper and every radio station, every television station. Let there be a nationwide stand down in every media houses across the country to dedicate maybe 10 minutes of a day for a particular jingle or a particular advert. Because what happened really is, when it comes to awareness creation, how do you do it? It also requires a lot of money. Sometimes money also can impair information. As I'm here, I can, if I'm in Nigeria, depending on which part of Nigeria I am, I have my favorite radio station I want to listen to at any point in time. I have my own, preferred television station I want to listen to at any time. So there might be an information, because I notice when I'm like in Nigeria, in Abuja, in my hotel room, I notice that usually most hotels, they tune to the NTA channel in Abuja. And I realize when I am there, I hear a lot of information being passed down from the federal government side of things. But the moment I'm in any other part of the country, I don't get to see these things, because most of the times I see CNN, I see BBC, on the TV. So we need to have a strategic approach to passing down information to people. That is very, very key. I believe my colleagues there have already covered all the other aspects. So now, on the question you mentioned regarding the of the people who are the victims already. To me, rather than saying government not doing enough, people not doing enough, everyone seems to be doing their bits, here and there. However, I believe that there needs to be a strong network. Nigerian has embassies, all over the world, and we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have different agencies that has to do, with controlling this menace. So I believe we need to form a synergy that will bring about a sort of collaboration, because one agency cannot do it all. NIDOE itself, yes, we are spread across Europe, across Africa, and indeed across the world, but there's only little we can do as well. But there has to be a synergy. I think that is what is missing here, so that something that is not captured by this one agency can easily be captured by the other agency, because these menaces occur at different stages. There's a way of preventing people from coming newly on embarking into this journey. There is a need to take care of people who are already trapped in one place or the other, like those in Libya we're talking about. There's also a way of a need to rehabilitate those who have returned, and also those who have actually crossed to Europe and currently living in a very, very deplorable condition. One single entity, one single agency, one single government arm cannot do it all. So all we need to do is to do an analysis of understanding different components and different stages of this matter, and link each of those stages to appropriate agency. Just to say, just to mention before I round up, like myself, because I know many of our people in Europe, including myself, who live in the United Kingdom, precisely Scotland, in Aberdeen. Some of us have seen a lot of things that we can use to enlighten our people, even that we can use to enlighten or to help the agencies on how to go about their duties, because they are there in Nigeria. Their only experience is limited to what they've seen and what is obtainable in Nigeria. So we, as being in the Europe, we're exposed to a lot of things that we can also equally help them back home to enhance their ability to perform their different jurisdictions. I was transferred out of Nigeria to the United Kingdom by the company I work for. They moved my things, moved my family and everything. So I never have an idea of this issue of people trying to pay money to travel or try to do visa to travel or everything. I've been to so many countries, but my company does all the visa requirements. So I just move around freely. So I'm really completely like a novice. I query my mind. I was like, why would somebody want to pay to go to somewhere that is unknown? You don't know what you're going to do there. Before I left Nigeria, the job was waiting. I arrived on a Saturday and I started working on a Monday. But somebody have told me, come, we'll get something for you. I think I should be able to have thought that, what if it's not true? So I still think everything boils down to information. But those who are already in it, we need to have a synergy, that is an all-encompassing, collaboration to be able to alleviate the suffering of those that are already victims.
You made mention of when you graduated and how you were able to get job waiting you and the different countries you've traveled. You are quite fortunate, but there are thousands upon thousands of Nigerians who have graduated and they are jobless. So joblessness is part of the problem that is making people to want to leave the known to the unknown. Because, I mean, for instance, somebody who have graduated for the past 8 years, the parents have trained this person, invested on this person, and then with the hope that this person will come out to begin to help the other siblings. And here, this person is just stuck in one little place, not being able even to take care of himself. And then still looking on these parents who have invested on him to be the one to be taking care of them after 8 years of having been graduated. So unemployment is causing a lot of havoc. Poverty is one of it, and then lack of good governance. For me, is part of the whole thing that is adding up to all of this crisis. But I would like to ask our Honorable Chebandi, you carried out a campaign recently in Nigeria on this aspect of irregular migration. Would you please tell us a little bit how successful were you in the distance, and did you really did people listen to you? Did they listen to you? Because you know why I'm asking you this, Chair, is that when I traveled to Nigeria last year, if you need to see how my cousins, how they were really begging, calling my auntie, please, you have to take me out of this country. You and your husband, please, you have to help me. I just need it. I need to be out. You see? So it's like no matter how you try to persuade the younger ones that here, the greener pasture we were thinking that Europe used to be is not what it used to be now. So, but they will tell you that they are jobless. They are unemployed. And they are not ready to go into agriculture. They just want the white man's scholar job. So tell us a little bit about your experience when you went to do your campaign.
Let's look at let's be a little bit focused so that we don't discuss everything and end up not discussing nothing. Yes, we can discuss the situation in Nigeria or any other country for that matter from now to tomorrow. That does not change the fact that we have a problem in Nigeria. We have a maladministration in the past. There's no two ways about it. But I will not probably buy the idea that a graduate, because he's not finding a job to do, will risk his life to pass through Libya to come to Europe. I think, honestly speaking, that is madness. That is a suicide mission, to the best of my knowledge. Yes, we have a lot of unemployment. We have a lot of graduate unemployment. But let's also look at the fact that Nigeria is one of the most blessed country in terms of fertile land for agriculture, which you have just likely mentioned. And I can bet you that how many percentage of Nigerians are? I can bet you not so much. So pushing down everything to lack of employment and lack of job, we also have to begin to think inward, to begin to be innovative. What do we want to do with our country? A country is as rich as its people. I just saw some information being circulated on social media. I cannot verify the authenticity. Where we have about 250 million Nigerians, about 65% of them are registered, but only 15% voted. You can imagine 15% making a decision for the whole of the country because of people are not ready to take their civil responsibility very serious. And so you leave 15% to make judgment or to make to elect leaders that are going to lead us. And we still say that the country is bad. No, what I'm trying to say is that we should also begin to take our duties also into focus, that the country can progress if we collectively do what we have to do. Now, to answer your questions on our enlightenment is simple. We're not saying that people should not travel. No, that's not our point. What we are saying that people will travel if there's a need for them to travel, but they should please get the necessary information before they travel. Let us narrow it down to Germany. In Germany, we have about over hundreds of institutions that are willing to get students, and of course, like you know, Germany is one of the only countries where the tuition fee is basically free of charge. And as long as you have the necessary requirements, you can come into Germany to study. So we are saying you should also probably take a look at those alternatives. If you must come to Germany, take a look at those alternatives and say exactly if it applies to you so that you can come around. Germany also need a lot of ITs. That's why the Syrians refugees are so attractive to Germans, because some of them are coming as highly skilled people. Now you have a lot of people migrating from Nigeria, in particular, without some necessary skilled. They don't have the skill necessary for the society to get adopted. So these are the issues we need to highlight. To say that yes, Nobody's saying you shouldn't travel. But please look at the circumstances before you travel. Where are you going to? What do you want to do in your new land? If at the end of the day you are ready to pay as much as $5,000 to get trafficked, you can as well also use that $5,000 to look around and say exactly what kind of business can you start so that you can begin to also be productive to yourself. Yes, it's a very difficult. If Europe is so bad, what are you still
Yes,
doing there? You would have also
exactly.
come back to Nigeria. So I can understand that. But on the other side, Europe has changed, like you also rightly mentioned yourself. Europe of 30 years ago is not Europe of today. Things has changed a lot, and it is our responsibility to say yes. Things were very rosy before for migrants, but things has changed. Just like Nigeria is having a tough time, most of the European cities are also having tough time. So we must begin to look inward. What are the opportunities in Nigeria? We have a lot of opportunities in Nigeria in terms of agriculture, in terms of small scale businesses, in terms of IT world. We should begin to look at those things while considering also other alternative. If you want to go out outside the country to get a lot of knowledge, you have to look at it. Basically, what we need, the Secretary General actually mentioned that. You see that this problem is a multifaceted. We have people who are already here who are stranded, who need help. We have people who need information before they can come over. We have people who are determined, no matter whatever they do, they will still travel out. And so we need to see how we can target these segments individually and have a coordinated effort to bring them on board. Italy is a very good example where we have a lot of people who their parents are even the family is involved. They sold their houses and they send them out to come to Italy for one reason or the other. We begin to target on such individuals. Who are the ringleaders? And what do we know about them? Can we report them to the authorities? Can we work with the authorities to make sure that we break those rings? Just a very typical example. While we are doing our coordinated effort to inform the youth about the dangers of unplanned migration in Nigeria, getting them young before they even leave the shores of Nigeria, trying to give them all the necessary information. Those people are already stranded also in Europe. We should have to say exactly how to work with the authorities. And of course, we will remain the advocacy of good governance and try reminding the government their responsibilities to set the right environment to create jobs for the youth and the rest of them. So I think it's a collective things we can do, but let us not narrow it down. That's one of the reasons why people are leaving their homes is because there are lack of jobs and lack of employment. Yes, we know these are the situation. We are living also in Europe where unemployment is high, where we have a lot of Europeans who are also not employed. In Germany, for instance, we have unemployment about 3 point something million. In most other European cities, it's much higher. So we have unemployment in Europe. So we cannot only narrow it down that lack of employment is a reason why people should risk their life to go and sell their organs in Italy, in Libya, because of the fact they want to go around. So let's basically get the message clear that there's no free passage to Europe any longer, that we must look at what we need to harvest from our environment before we decide to even leave the country. And if we want to live, we have to live in a very responsible way.
Thank you so much, Chair. So, regards to stopping the human trafficking business in this part of the world, especially in Italy, Dr. Ibekwe, I would like to know what is being done on your side or on the side of the country that you are in towards bringing this to a stoppage.
Thank you very much. You see, Chia have said it all, because I have wanted to touch that Nigerians, the youths have no reason, because most of the time, what actually happens in our country is that we are proud and lazy people. Some doesn't want to go to agric, some doesn't want to work in the farm, some of them doesn't want to do even common trading. They want quick money. They want where they will traffic, otherwise they will go highway, kidnapping people and looking for money. And that has been the root of everything. So the root of everything is corruption. Corruption and corruption. So in fact, when the governor of Edo came here on the 25th of this month, 21st of this month, of last month, we actually, during my address, I told him and the ambassador, the new ambassador to Italy, I told them that, yes, actually, Italy is the hot cake. That is where everything is centralized, because Italy, right from time, they started. We started by saying that in Italy, if you go there, the women there are prostituting, and the men there are trafficking on drugs. But if you come to Italy, not only the Nigerian women are prostituting. It's not only the Nigerian men are trafficking. You find many other countries mixed. Italy was one of the first people who suffered immigration. They went to Argentina. They suffered a lot before they came back to Italy, and they removed corruption and they removed everything, and their forefathers has prepared this very place for them. As the forefathers have prepared this very, they are now enjoying it, and that's why when we look, we say that now let us come to Europe and enjoy with them what we didn't prepare. If you didn't prepare your home well, how can you come to enjoy? So in my speech that very day, I told them that actually the Italy chapter is preparing for a very big project, and I think by God's grace, if we have the means of working on that project, we will work on it. Because I told them that the simple problem, we can solve it. It's simple. If we can, first of all, fight corruption in our country, as the present federal government is trying to work, and we work for the interest of our people and our country instead of personal interest, we must succeed. I told them also that in our project, I suggested that we will suggest that the federal government will create a Ministry of Rehabilitation. This the federal government will mark a site in every state using the diaspora housing project that we have just finished this thing, in rehabilitating all those people who are wishing to come back. And those people who are not wishing to come back, well, Europe has not taken enough. They can still take more people if things work well and if it is well organized. So the NIDOE Italy chapter is organizing an enlightenment campaign for the immigration in Italy. Enlightenment and service program on immigration regulations and the confrontation of dialogues with the Italian government. We are now preparing to face the Italian government, go into them, work with them, talk with them. We will strive for, first of all, vocational training, and at the same time, we will try to make sure that the people who are willing to stay, they will have a job, they will have a good means of living, and those people we know that they are nowhere they want to go back. We would like our government to rehabilitate them. So Italy is the root of and the hot cake of every discussion. I would want that the NIDO in general will support us, so that in future our children will enjoy as the children of Europe are now enjoying. So may God help us. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. If you are just tuning in, this is Majesty Christian Television Network having a 101 discussion with NIDOE officials regarding to irregular migration, trafficking, and Libyan slave trade. So feel free to give us a call on +31 20 33 74 160 or go to our Facebook and make your suggestions. We will read them out and then you can hear them as well. So thank you so much, gentlemen. I think before signing off, it would be nice that we touch the human slavery or human slave trade that is ongoing now in Libya. So my question is, how did this one now come to focus to this level? How come that it has really come to focus? Is it that it was something that was going underground and without people noticing it, and all of a sudden it just whoops come on focus? What do you know about it?
I don't know who you're addressing the question.
I'm addressing it to any one of us because we need to be answering spontaneously.
When we launched our project on the 12th of September, it was very, very clear on our communique that we have about 1,000 stranded people in Libya who they are using as slaves.
Yeah.
It was circulated all over the social media. We also raised the issue of about 12,000 Nigerians that are marked for deportation in Germany. You see, the problem is that, like we all agree that awareness is a very, very key. I think the Secretary General also even went further to say that probably the government should mandate some media houses, which I think is going to be very difficult, but at least it's a social responsibility to say that every of the media houses should have about 5 minutes to have an enlightenment on the issue at hand, which could go a very long way if adhered to. Now, what am I trying to say? No, it didn't fall out of heaven. We've been warning since I will have such issues. That's actually why we launched that campaign. And if you remember, we actually tried to co-opt NIDOE into that enlightenment program. And you can also, as a PRO, you remember that some people misunderstood that and were shouting using NIDOE to go and do some project here and there and the rest of them. So it didn't fall from heaven. It has been there. But the problem is that we don't listen, or some of us don't listen. Only when BBC has spoken or when CNN has spoken. And that's where we begin to take things very seriously. No, we've shared those videos. No, we shouted. No, we asked NIDOE to get involved and get involved in that enlightenment because we felt it's necessary. But unfortunately, like I said, most people are too narrow-minded that they didn't see the bigger picture until this BBC and CNN started screaming. Then we'll now jump into that. I think that is also part of the things we need to look into ourselves, to have this mental emancipation. To believe that the foreign media and the foreign countries, they do not have all the answers to our problem. I was listening to the president of Ghana today speaking in the it's a video I was watching. I'd seen a press conference with the president of French. He said it is time the African will begin to look inward to solve our own problems ourselves. We must not depend on Europeans, to send us handout on how to solve our own problems. Whether it's socially, economically, or otherwise. And we should also not be pointing fingers on the Europeans on whatever that is going wrong in Africa. I think Chairman Ibekwe just mentioned that the fathers of the Italians, they built that country for their use to enjoy. So it's part also that time we begin to build our own countries for our use to enjoy by taking issues seriously. But just to write down to your focus down to your question, no, it didn't fall from the heaven. No, it has been around. We've been waging the signs and shouting. But thank God that it took CNN and BBC to realize, to wake people from their slumber, to know the dangers of things that we have actually been talking for the past 1 year.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Abe, do you have something to contribute?
I have something to contribute to that, which is pretty much in line with what the Honorable Chairman, NIDOE Europe, have just enumerated. The fact that this didn't start just today. It's been there for quite a long time. Individually, we've at one time or the other get access to direct information on from victims or maybe family members of or a friend of friends or a family of a friend or something. We hear these things, but what's like Honorable Chair said is that we believe maybe is just one or two cases, but these things are actually happening on at a colossal level. And even if it's on one or two cases, what is inhuman is inhuman. So I think the emergence in recent times of the social media, by the fact that whatever is happening where I am right now, if it's something I feel should interest the rest of the world, all I need to do is to put up my mobile phone, put up the recording, either video or audio. Within the next 1 minute or 2 minutes, I can get hundreds or thousands or even millions of people to know exactly what just happened right now. So I think the emergence of the social media, an ability for people to transfer information without being utterly, totally
Yeah.
controlled, as it has been in the days where for you to send something, you have a limit of sizes, maybe email only or whatever. I think it's helping now for the world to start to see a lot of things that has been happening underground. So that is one aspect I see this development, which is why now is becoming, the awareness is coming up. People are able to see videos and pictures, and I must tell you, I don't know how to say this because these videos, these pictures I've seen in recent time, I mean, especially in the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks, sent me thinking to the point that I don't know if I should be crying or weeping. I don't know if I should feel angry. I don't know, because I see human beings, it doesn't matter if they are blacks or whites or whatever color, being treated like animal, as in treated like animal. I repeat again, treated like
Exactly.
animal. In fact, in the developed world where I live, if you treat an animal, 5% of what I've seen, the way human beings are being treated in Libya, you will go to jail. I mean, that is treating an
Yes.
animal
It's true.
like that. Even wild animal, not even home pets. So, what are we talking about here? This is more than serious. This is really an epidemic of the
Yes.
highest order. But however, one thing I like to say also is that in every society, we say, oh, blacks, whites, everything. In every society, there are different categories of people. There are the same types of people everywhere. I think what vary is the dimension, the population. Where are people in developed world, in Europe, in America, who are daily looking at how to exploit Africa. The same way we have people in Africa who are looking at how to exploit Europeans, all these things called 419. I believe that you cannot 419 me as a white person if I am not gullible in the first instance. Because I used to tell people that if if a Nigerian, for instance, or an African duped an American or a European of money, I always tell people that in a simple logic, if these two people have been swapped over and the European American happen to be in the Africa and the same African happen to be in Europe, the same exact thing will happen because they have the same mindset of trying to reap where you do not sow. So this thing has been there. Media has brought it out now. The thing is that is getting blown up into
Yeah.
our faces. What we need now is to start thinking of what to
Yes.
do about it. The Honorable just mentioned something very, very critical. Weeks back, last month, when that MERN project or program was launched, this is something that should have attracted applauses all around Nigerians, Europe's, and everywhere you have
Exactly.
Nigerians in the world. It's now obvious, few weeks later, how much of impact supporting such an
Yes.
ideology, such a program, such an implementation would have made in the well-being of millions of Nigerians. Because when one person dies, it affects, a whole lot of
At
other
least about
people.
100.
All that came up from our people were
Yes.
criticism, free you using NIDOE logo on something. All these things that I can't even be wasting our time with here. Be complete, totally oblivious to the fact that what they are actually trying to do is even a tip of an iceberg. But if we all collaborate and join hands together, we'll be able to make a little impact.
Exactly.
Now, we now see now, the whole thing started blowing up into our faces. And I tell you, my dear sister, the moderator, and also our viewers, these same people, they've equally seen the pictures we're talking about, the videos we're analyzing here. The reason we all left our primary assignments to come together here and be trying to address and find solutions to this issue. They've read this thing, they've seen these things, and I can tell you and assure you, they are still writing all this kind of a thing. They are still doing all, actions and everything. So the problem, like I said, is very, very huge. So to bring it home, okay, any agencies that has the authority or be mandated by the federal government to do X, Y, Z, we need to start to hold them accountable. We need to get them to be updating us, the Nigerian populace, regularly on what they are doing. And when this kind of issue happens, instead of just sending it out to people who don't know what to do about it, send it to the appropriate agencies that are in charge of that particular matter. Let them see it firsthand and let them, rise up quickly to be able to do something about it, rather than making it as a mere showcase, a mere, I like to share, let me be the first to share this with you and things like that, So I think in a nutshell, this thing has been there. We need to come together and start looking at solutions. Honestly, I don't know if we have time left on this program. I would rather we use it to concentrate on making suggestions on something we can put together. Maybe it as an assignment, or we get it to write it as a communique to the applicable agencies. I just mentioned something about, getting all media houses to dedicate something to these 10 minutes of a day for broadcasting, or maybe a quarter of a page on a newspaper, maybe once in a week, for publications. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jensek. Thank you so much. Dr. Ibekwe, are you still there? Doctor, please, in very few words, can you please tell us what is the term? What is the term of money or the value of this business? Who pays the bill and who pockets the money?
What I know is this, because I was able to interview some of our boys and some of our nationals who come here, the immigrants. When they come in here, the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, they handle this case. And actually, they are not to be blamed, because the Nigerian organizations here or the NIDOE might be, we are not up to doing it the way they should do it, because all these things, when they come, it is the organization of the people who are responsible, the people who are affected, that can know their people, know exactly what they are suffering, know their language, know every other thing that can handle the case. But when the NGOs here are made to handle this very case in the name of might be to resolve the problem, I was able to ask some of these. When they come in here, they are given 75 euro. I mean, I've said 700. 75 euro for a month. When they are in the camp, they are just given food, this spaghetti and all these things, and they're giving 75 euro per month. And throughout the time, they have two sections. One is in the camp, when they are in the camp. The other one, they take them to a living house. When they take them to a living house, they pay them 30 euro a week for their feeding. Then the amount that was estimated to each person, I think it's more than that, about 300. The European Union or whatever, whosoever gives them that money. I know they are not using the whole money.
You are drifting out from your camera. Please shift a little bit.
Yeah. So I think the amount they are giving are very, very meager to the amount that they give to the amount they were given as responsible, those who are responsible to handle this very case. That's why they themselves tell me that yes, the money that they give them is smaller, because they feel that maybe these people who are taking charge of them are giving up to 300 or 300 and something, and this small amount was given to them. So they believe that the rest of the money was now put to joy. They just pocket it and thus give them and leave them to suffer. Maybe in each person, I have said here, when I get to some of the camps, I see that some of the boys are living about 3 or 4 or 5 in one room. And maybe if they are declaring this, they may declare that 1 may be living in a room or 2 may be living in a room, not 5. They pack them as sardines. So the foul play there is not far-fetched. You know, you see, we know that they are not actually giving them the necessary thing that the European government or whichever or United Nations are dishing out for them. That is why we say they pocket the money, the NGOs here.
Really? All right. The last question so far is going to be on what is your take on this? We heard that some of the European countries agreed with some African countries to evacuate those who are in Libya urgently. But till now, it's like the process is very, very slow. At least countries like Germany, with other European countries, about 4 European countries, France, together with these African countries, Chad, Niger, and Libya, as I heard, agreed that they came into agreement to evacuate those in these detention houses quickly because of these horrible reports we are seeing on the net. But up till now, it's like the process is very, very, very slow. So to your own thinking, what do you think would have been the best way to get our people who are trapped there out from those camps? This question goes to our chair.
Thank you. I mentioned at the beginning of this discussion that Libya is a failed state. It's a quasi-failed state. And we have 3 governments, 1 recognized, 2 unrecognized, and hundreds of militants, spread across the place. It's a very dangerous place. It's not as simple as just flying in and flying out. That's number 1. Number 2, with everything in migration, you need to document who is from where, who is from Nigeria, who is from Cameroon, who is from Chad, so that you don't end up creating another problem by trying to solve one. If you carry somebody from Chad to Nigeria, then you need to also carry him from Nigeria back to Chad. And so I think it's a process that yes, like Sekjan normally said, it's a very, very serious problem. And I don't think anybody have a single solution in a quick means. I think everything must be done to remove those people as quickly as possible within the safest possible means. I'm not on the ground. I don't have the facts, so I would not probably speculate what they could have done better, because I know that's a very dangerous situation there, and it's a very serious problem dealing with human being. What probably I could just add, probably that was one of the questions probably you skipped out or you were trying to combine to, is what is the way forward? Which I believe that we have a simple information enlightenment empowerment. In whichever form, in whichever means, we need to tell our people what the situation is, what the dangers are. We need to look at what possibilities we have on the ground, and we need to see how we can collaborate with every agencies possible, both international and national, to begin to create empowerment for the youth, to begin to refocus people's mind back to agriculture, back to land, back to vocational training and the rest of them. And so I think we should not forget to put our eyes on that, because if we are focusing only on bringing them back and the 10,000 people will be on their way in the next 2 weeks, then it's not going to help anybody. And so we should be looking at that from the holistic part of view. And there are some other important recommendations, which I don't know, probably is going to be a controversial one. All the people who have been brought back should be well documented and rehabilitated. And if any of those people documented, rehabilitated, decide to embark on such a journey, I think the person should know that the sympathy of the international community of the country should not be on such person. As a matter of fact, there should be a probably a punishment attached to that, and so that we don't end up where we are after 6, 7 years again. Especially with regard to Italy, with Libya. Sorry. So, like I said, I know it's going to be a controversial one.
Hello, Chi, are you still there?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Speak.
Yes, I just concluded. I don't know, probably you missed it out. We should focus on enlightenment, empowerment, and
you were saying that punishment has to be given to those, the returnees, in case they will want to come back to Libya after 7 years or 8 years.
Exactly. Because as you are bringing people back, you can be sure that some people are thinking of also trying to try a second missionary journey through that route. And I think it's something that we also have to think about.
All right, thank you. So, for you, they have to be properly documented, and then they have to be cautioned not to embark on such a journey again.
Well, caution, like I said, it's going to be controversial. Caution is one thing, but like I said, to make sure that anybody rescued now, with the help of the international community or national, will not see the government spending money to go back again to rescue such people. And so it has to be very, very clear that once rescued, one would think about making a second move.
Thank you. Hey, Engineer Abe, please, your intake on this.
Yeah, normally, not normally, I always like to reference constituted authorities and agencies, because we have this problem. Like when we started, we made it known that it didn't start today. It's been there from ages. Okay, I mean centuries. There are agencies, there are governmental bodies, both on national and international levels. We have the National Agency, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, in Nigeria. Normally, they wouldn't have, if not now, that the whole thing has turned to, more of a very, colossal issue or a national issue, more of an epidemic now. We have the Nigerian Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. These people, this agency, already we all know that they have their hands very full now because of the internal issues in Nigeria, not even related to migration with the IDPs. We have the International Organization for Migration, IOM. When you do a quick research into all these organizations, these are the organizations that I see that have a very biggest responsibility into this problem we're addressing here right now. And so good, this organization is not just a Nigerian-based organization or a national organization. It is an international organization that are well coordinated between international government to government. So now, these are the people that I believe the lapses their part is leading to the kind of malaise we're seeing in our hands. Like the chairman said, yes, youth empowerment program, NIDOE, both at the European level and at the worldwide level, has been instituting a lot of youth empowerment programs on solar power, on ICT technology training. NIDOE America has been doing a lot. NIDOE Europe has been doing a lot. That was what we centered our last Diaspora Day, which was held in Abuja on the 25th of July on. We are making a little effort and impact where we can. However, we are not being funded by any government or any international agency. However, these agencies, like I mentioned earlier on, they are budgeted for. They are sponsored by both Nigerian and foreign governments. We need to be able to see what their impact has been. We need to be able to see what they have been able to do. Maybe it might not be to address the entire issue, but we should be able to say, okay, they are able to do 30%, 40%, 50%, and there has to be a clear measure of what is incapacitating them so that the responsible arms of government will also see to that to ensure, to make them to be able to do what they need to do. So the point here in terms of solution and those who are coming back, there are agencies that are in charge of their rehabilitation. There are agencies that are in charge of seeing to ensure they return. Yes, we know that if you do it in too fast an approach, we can actually bring citizens of another country. And let us not be oblivious of the fact that our people embark on so much lies when they get these places we are referring to. Some of them don't even declare they are coming from Nigeria. Some of them declare if there is, let's say there is issue in Somalia, for instance, all of them becomes Somalians so that they can be able to seek asylum, from my understanding, or my little understanding. If there's problem in Libya, all of them start to claim Libya. If there's problem, all of them start to claim Nigeria. And like now, from some information that have been private to, some of our claim asylum claiming that the government is after them because of same-sex marriage. So all these lies complicate things when it comes to deportation, this is what our honorable chair was trying to refer to, because for somebody to be deported, you have to clearly ascertain that is, though they are full asylum, but you have to clearly ascertain their country of origin. So if they fail asylum as a Somalia, how do you want to know that you should bring them to Nigeria? And it's only when the suffering gets to the peak, when they are really cannot bear it anymore in all these things they are going through, that is when they open up and say, take me back to my country, I'm in Nigeria, take me back to my country, I'm in Nigeria. So in essence, that will be contradictory to the document that they have, because they are already a Somalian, So there's complication to all this. But however, as soon as their cases are resolved and they feel asylum, there should be an involvement of the right government agency who should start the process of repatriation immediately, so that they will not lodge in the camps for a long time and being subjected to additional multiple inhuman treatment. I pay so much attention to the little words that the returnees have been saying when the media people hear them out at the point of entry. Once they arrive in Nigeria, they say a lot of things. These are very, very important things that these agencies need to take cognizance of. They say it that is you hearing directly from the horse's mouth. They tell you what they are going through. One said he's a graduate, he's married, he's been married for 35 years or whatever, and then he end up to be like being treated like animal or being whatever. Now he's happy to be back. So now the problem is a little bit halfway solved. All we need to do is to get people to see all these things we're seeing. They will know them. So you don't need to beg them to not to go. If I want to go myself, if I hear what those guys are saying, of course, I will no longer go, no matter what you tell me to go. There was a lady they interviewed, and she said she doesn't even know how to portray herself. She said, "Look, the fact that you see me talking now on television, I'm telling you, anything anybody tells you that you go here, you go there, you get better life, he said, forget it, it's a lie." So
she has learned in a very difficult way.
In a very difficult way. So these are the things that we need to use to be able to, to be educating people. But at the same time, let us find a way of holding our government and their agencies accountable for things like this.
Thank you so much, Engineer Abe. Let me hear from Dr. Ibekwe as we are rounding up, please. Thank you.
Please don't round up. I have my to contribute.
Oh, really? Who just joined us now?
Oh,
yeah.
And also, I think
because Chair is indicating on the WhatsApp that he will soon be on another appointment. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we just have to bear with him. All right. It's okay. I'm seeing you now. Yes, say something.
If you can please indulge me, I won't talk too much. I'm very passionate about this because it's something I've spent about 10 years working on. Please, whoever the next speaker is, I apologize for butting in and raining on your parade. The way I look at what we're dealing with is, I will start from the technical point of view, okay? With fundamental humility and without anything. I've worked in the past 10 years on what they call the Visa Information System, the Schengen Information System, and there's one they call Eurodac. The Eurodac is the database of asylum seekers in Europe. The Visa Information System is an information system with the EU that if you go to Germany and you want to enter either Schengen visa or any of this visa, if you go to Germany and you want to enter Germany today, your information is available to all the 28 EU member states. Not only 28 EU member states, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and some of the others who are signatory to the Schengen acquis, they are there. Okay, that's what the Visa Information does. The Schengen Information System is a database of all. You can go and read it online. It's available there. The visa came in about 2011, and I think the Schengen we finished in 2012. Current Eurodac was before that, which is the asylum application. As at this very moment, they are working on what is called smart borders and what is called entry-exit system, which is going to be applicable to Brexit. That is from the technical point of view. The technical point of view, and why I brought that in, you can say you are from A, B, or C. Once they have your biometrics, once they have your fingerprints and everything, if you say the information you give to them in Germany is available to 28 EU states. So those previous time when you will change your face and you will change your hand and you will change your leg and everything, my son always posed the same question to me all the time, that how come all these terrorists are getting away with it and they are bombing? I said, tell me any terrorist that is caught in Europe and within 24 hours they won't tell you where he is, where he has been, where he has eaten, the school he went to, within 24 hours. The only thing the system cannot do is you cannot catch a criminal until he commits an offense. You see, there is no heuristics there to determine that somebody, of course, some people they profile, and there's lack of intelligence on the number of people monitoring this. Let's put that aside and let's look at the situation. So what I think NIDOE should address this. You see, Nigerian government will not help you. They will not do anything. The first and foremost thing that needs to be addressed is to give these people maybe a documentary on the reality of life in Europe.
Yes.
There are people who are Europeans, who are living in UK, who don't know what their status is, who are afraid. They don't know what is going to happen after 2019. They are Europeans. They've been living here for 40 years. They don't know what their status will be. Now, you're coming from what we called a third country, not third world, a third country, because you don't have any agreement with Europe or America as to your freedom of movement. So you are there. You are a statistic. There are kids who have been here who came as minor. The moment they reach 14, 15, 16, they deport them to the countries where they come from. Europe is not as buoyant as it used to be. Things are changing every day. The border system, the immigration system is an IT system. It's not a human system. They don't look at your picture anymore. They don't look at your picture. Just scanning your picture, give them all the image and information and everything they need to. Every border post you go, once they put that biometrics in there, it's recorded that you have passed through here. It's recorded who you are. They know where you are coming from. If you go to an EU country and you escape, the entry-exit system is what they are trying to use to monitor movement within the EU, because this Schengen thing has been abused. The contract has just been issued. I think the call for tender went on last year. It's just issued now. So I'm saying all this so that we need to give these people migrating the reality. They don't face the reality because we go back with Paco Rabanne, Gucci, and everything. That is what they see. You cannot convince somebody who is coming from there not to come when you are living the life. When they will see Saul Bochi and they will see the mansion is living in London, they don't know what has gone into it. They don't know how much energy, time, and to be honest, most of us talking now, the rules of engagement when we came here has changed over time. It has changed over time. So they cannot put themselves in your position. Now, I don't like addressing issue. I don't want to talk much. I'm sure we'll have time to talk more later. What is the root cause? We are talking about the effect of migration now. We are talking about the net effect of migration. What is the root cause of all these things and how can we address it? I've always told people about this Indian model. When America became hot for them, all of them they took their startup to Bangalore. They are operating from Bangalore. That's why they are outsourcing in America. If you have a call center in Nigeria, if we have the infrastructure, electricity, the IT world is so small. I stay in my small office. I can work in Geneva. I can work in Estonia. I can work in Brussels. I don't need to leave this place. Everything I need to do, I stay here and I do it. If I need to do face-to-face meeting, I go there. All these call centers in India, when I listen to all those Indians speaking, there are some people in Nigeria who can speak better English. There are some people who can communicate better. How can you discourage people from doing this? If we go into partnership, if you pay somebody in UK today, I don't think you can pay the minimum wage. I don't think so. You pay the person £300 per month unless they are doing this gig economy. If you convert £300 per month to Naira, and you take a graduate and you put them in call centers and you give them the facilities to be answering calls, you encourage these people, you take a subset of them, bring them to Europe, maybe for 6 months, 12 months training, send them back to go and train other people. And you now have a bilateral agreement with government and all these people to say, look, there's a way of doing legal migration easily. There's a way of coming to school legally, easily. When my father came here, I went back to Nigeria. Now, why does he want to stay here? To do what? Is 2 naira is 1 pound? 1 naira was £2. Do you understand? Until we show another alternative where you can let this person come. And the typical example I have with that is there was a friend that won a green card from Nigeria, and when he won the green card, he went to America. Some of his friends there, they were running from him. They've been there for 10 years. They don't have green card. They've been there for 10 years. They don't have green card. The kind of job this guy was applying for, they cannot apply for it. So until you weigh that balance that we have a way, either through Microsoft is in Nigeria, all these companies are in Nigeria, we can encourage the youth. We can create a technological village where we vet people, train them. It's not just going to treat somebody oracle. Where is he going to do it? Imagine training somebody, passing his oracle. After passing his oracle, you let him go to US for about, like they do in those days with RT Briscoe. Let him go for about 1, 2, 3 years. Make him a team leader in Nigeria to go back, and he will start collaborating. He doesn't, when he looks at his lifestyle and the lifestyle of people in Europe, why does he want to come there? So we are looking at the effect, but we must address the root cause until we make or create an alternative to make coming to Europe and back for the economic development of Nigeria, for the youth, be it nursing, be it carpentry, be it anything. If we can create cottage industry, if we can have bilateral agreement where these people may not have, they can start on a small level, and you tell them that when they graduate, they will come to an apprentice school here where they have all the equipment and everything that will expose them to the technical, the creativity aspect of technician, plumber. All of them use gadgets. Even the guy that is working on BT on the main road, he uses gadgets to make. If you expose them to those kind of things, and they see that there's an alternative. If I do this legal way, they say, this guy, they picked him on the street. Look at where he has done. Why do I want to go and queue in Libya and go for unknown when there is a known here? All these Indian people, they come here, they linking with their countries back home. There was a guy I was working with. I was asking this guy that, why are you doing all these things? Every night, 7 o'clock, they are there. At 9, they are not leaving the office. When I tell them to do something the next day, they will wait. They will now get in touch with the people in India. The people in India will be the one doing the thing for them. They will just report the next day until I disengage their spreadsheet from it. We have this technology. We have the means of doing this. The world has gone. What we lack at the moment in Nigeria is the infrastructure. Because for you to run this thing, you need electricity. But those banks are running. Internet is running. There's an alternative. So we must make way. If you go to migration, the international migration, they will give you statistics of people who are moving. People will continue to move. As long as they see you, they see me, that we are living a better life, we are settled, we are doing this, that why would you tell me not to? But they will say, no, I'm going there myself. But the first thing to let them know is that the rules of engagement has changed. 10, 20 years ago, I would take my face and put Abe's face on my passport. They won't notice. They will not notice. They will just take my face and put Abe's face. All black people look the same. No. You understand? So all those things have moved on. Then when you get here, how you rehabilitate? Where would you get national insurance? How do you get? Everything has changed.
Honorable Yemi.
Sorry, Yemi. I would like to.
Honorable Yemi. I think, Chair. I'm telling you because he has a lot. But I think, Chair, we can have another session. Chair, please. I think we can have another session whereby he can come in and then he can pour out more. So this is just this. No, Honorable Yemi, we cannot continue to be waiting because you joined us lately and then our time is far gone already. So we think we can have this discussion, the part 2 of the discussion as soon as possible. So I wouldn't want Chair to go. I want Chair to just, Chair, as we are rounding up now, what would you like those who have listened to us as NIDOE to take out of this broadcast? 1 second.
Listening to the zeal, of Mr. Yemi. Unfortunately, he joined probably late because he would have realized that we all share that same platform he just shared. Listening to Dr. Ibekwe, listening to our Honorable Secgen, and also, of course, yourself, who are all NIDOE members, it's very clear that we all have passion for Nigeria and for what we are discussing. And so I'll be looking forward for the part 2 of that on a very serious note. And then the Migration Enlightenment project, which we have commenced, having listened to this program and having listened coming back from Portugal, it is clear that we need to put all our hands together to drive it to the next level. And the most important thing, like also Yemi had said, and also I think almost everybody on this panel have actually mentioned that we need more information, more enlightenment, and more empowerment. And I think catching up from the last speaker, I am not one of those who believe that we have to wait until the infrastructures are there in Nigeria. We can create a total village based on solar and based on IT center. All we need to do is to look for the right partners to implement that. And so our takeaway is that NIDOE is fully committed to the plight of migrants, especially the irregular migrants. We'll continue to enlighten them. Like Amy also said, the paradigm has changed, the game has changed, the rules of the game have changed. We can't stop saying that. But at the same time, we're looking at the root cause within our own limited alternative. And again, if you remember, NIDOE program is youth empowerment on solar technology and IT. So it is basically in line with what we are saying. I think I would prefer to say that the time for talk is over. Talk is cheap. We should get down to business and begin to commit things to reality. That's my
Thank you so much. Engineer Abe, 1 second, please. What?
We need to find a way of holding our government and its agencies accountable, and we have the responsibility on individual basis to educate our friends, our family members, and we need to properly channel all these revelations that are coming up to appropriate vulnerable individuals or group of individuals that we might be able to have access to. So let's positively utilize this emerging information to try and deter more people from embarking on these dangerous trips. And also, yes, we might be looking, Rosie, we are living in Europe. We all came here through different means, and the fact that the rule of the game have changed needs properly communicated, because it's very critical in the sense that I know that from my old days in secondary school and university, before I eventually even came here myself, when people come home, they come with cars, flashy cars, expensive clothes and everything. We all thought they were actually picking money on the streets of Europe and America. I remember my mother used to ask me. So anyway, so the fact of the matter is, let us try as much as possible to educate our people. I believe that is very, very key. And also as NIDOE, we need to continue in our efforts to be able to bring back emerging technology areas that we know can better educate and improve the life of our people. Let's start to connect our home government to all these opportunities, being able to drive development and infrastructural growth in Nigeria through various programs that we already have in place. Anyway,
thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ibeke, please, 1 second. 1 second.
We have said it all. What I will still say is that we have to cooperate with the government, especially the various ambassadors and the home government and the host government. We have to fight together, because this thing is not something that a whole organization, one organization or one particular government will do. We have to put all our effort and make sure that we are honest and we follow the trend of fighting corruption in any deal we want to do. And I think things will work out well.
Sir.
Thank you.
Honorable Yemi, 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Yes, Honorable Yemi, please, your final word, your final intake on this.
It's not a comment. Very, very important. I was supposed to, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, I could not attend the EU African Summit in Dakar. I was invited there. It's the EU African Economic Summit. I will strongly enjoin NIDOE to participate next year. I will send the details to Kenneth. and I'll send it. Well, I have Kenneth's email, and I think I have Abe's email as well. It is this is where, you know, the revolution we're talking about. You will find when you have money, corruption will bow down.
Yes.
Do you understand? We are talking about economic revolution. Do you understand? Those people who took GSM, mobile phone, and modern banking system to Nigeria, they don't need to bribe anybody. The people will come and meet you. So you see, we need to be talking to the right people. This EU Africa summit was attended from Britain Prime Minister to every top notch people were there. Africa is the new market. The market in Europe is saturated. How many people do you want to sell tablet and mobile phone from? All of us have about 2, 3. Africa is the emerging market. The labor is cheap. So please, I will send the link. This year's one took place between the 27th and 29th. I registered due to that. Basically, I just came back from Spain today. You know, that's why I'm late. You know, due to that, I couldn't go because it's supposed to be for 3 days. We need to be there. You know, it's not about talk. So when you're talking about not talk, when you are there, you meet investors who are trying to invest in Africa. You meet them. We tell them, what is the need for Africa? What are you doing for our youth? How can we collaborate? So that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for being.
I will send the link. I'll send the link immediately. I think it's on my WhatsApp. I'll send the link to. I have Kenneth and I have Reverend as well. Yeah, so I will send it so that you can put it on your calendar or find out when the one next year is going to take place. It's 3 days. They need us more than we need them, but we are selling ourselves to them cheaply. That's the only thing I can say.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. Thank you, all our viewers. Thank you as well, NIDOE officials, for this discussion we have just had. And we hope that when Majesty will open our arms to have you again, you will be more than willing to discuss other topics which will be relevant to those in the diaspora and as well those who are back home. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Jensek. Thank you, Dr. Ibekwe. Thank you, Honorable Yemi. Thank you for being with us, and God bless you all. So we hope to have you again and again and again. So we're saying bye now. On behalf of this crew, we say bye to all of you. Bye. Bye then.